Kristen, and I want to personally applaud you on your decision to advance your career in the rewarding counseling field. As you know, the first step to a successful career in this field is passing the National Counselor Examination. Admittedly, studying for the exam can be daunting. Many students can become overwhelmed and are left wondering how to take the first step. This video is designed as a roadmap to help you navigate the test preparation process and answer a few of your most pressing questions. In the end, you should have a greater understanding of where to begin, how to prepare, the types of questions you'll encounter, and of course, how to answer those questions. So let's go ahead and get started. Where do I begin? That's a great question. One of the best ways to begin is to familiarize yourself with the general exam overview. The National Counselor Examination is an objective test composed of 200 multiple choice questions, 40 of which are experimental and will not be counted in your final score. You'll have 4 hours to complete the exam. The word objective refers to the scoring and indicates there's only one correct answer. Objective tests rely heavily on your skills to read quickly and reason out the answer. Since your exam is multiple choice, success on the exam also has to do with your skills as a test taker. It's our experience that being a good test taker can add 15 to 20 points to your score. The exam is designed to assess your knowledge, skills, and abilities in providing effective counseling services. It's general in nature, yet intended to assess the knowledge of all counselors regardless of their individual professional specialties. How do I prepare? Well, there are many good answers to this question. The best answer is this: practice, practice, practice. Have you ever become panicked during an exam because you realize that you are running out of time and may not be able to answer every question? This is a very common problem. It's usually caused by spending too much time on difficult questions. Here are some helpful tips to overcome this. First, practice taking the exam ahead of time. This is why we developed Exam Advantage. The power of Exam Advantage is that it allows you to closely simulate both the content of the exam as well as the format of the exam. This will make you completely prepared to pass your exam. Second, learn to mark those difficult questions. Making the decision to skip a question should be done quickly. Simply mark the question and move on to the next one. Be sure to review all your marked questions at the end. So contact us to get your Exam Advantage account set up as soon as possible. We also have study packages that include Exam Advantage. The sooner you begin taking our online exams, the better prepared you'll be for your exam. Another question you may have is, what types of questions are on the exam? You may encounter a variety of questions on your exam. We cannot say for sure what they may be. However, I would recommend that you become familiar with 3 types of questions: recall questions, note key phrases or words, and incomplete sentences. First, let's look at the straightforward recall question. A recall question asks you to retrieve specific information from memory. This may sound simple enough, and it can be. This will be your first objective during your study process. Learn the information at the recall level. Here's a practice question from Exam Advantage. It requires that you recall the information you learned about this concept. A straightforward question with a straightforward answer. The COPS and VII are based on whose career theory? This type of question is asking you to recall specific information. The Career Occupational Preference System, or the COPS, and the Vocational Interest Inventory, or the VII, are based on Rowe's framework. For example, COPS scores represent different occupational levels within different occupational classifications. Here's another test-taking strategy that you can apply to almost every question you encounter. After reading a question, be sure to note any key phrases or words. Negative statements are often used and contain qualifiers like, all of the following are true except. By noting the word except, you'll be less likely to make the careless mistake of forgetting it. Let's take a look at another question from Exam Advantage. Hypnosis would be least useful for treating which of the following? A. Specific phobia. B. PTSD. C. Dissociation. D. Substance abuse. In this question, you must take note of the qualifier words least useful. None of the answer choices really fit the question, but remember, you're looking for the least useful among the 4 answer choices. Hypnosis can be most effective when the goal is to build a sense of control in the client over his or her own emotional experiences. According to the research, substance abuse has the poorest outcome when treated with hypnosis. Therefore, the correct answer is D, substance abuse. Another type of question that I recommend becoming familiar with involve incomplete sentences. These are questions where the stem is presented as an incomplete statement rather than a direct question. For example, let's take this question. In the case of Larry P. versus Wilson Riles, the court found IQ tests to be A. Invalid, B. Racially and culturally biased, C. Valid for minority group members only if administered by a member of the same minority group, D. Valid for minority group members only if used in conjunction with other measures. In the case of Larry P., a suit was brought against the California State Department of Education and the San Francisco School Board on the ground that the use of standard IQ tests overrepresented Black children in EMR classes. The judge's ruling in this case reflected the conclusion that IQ tests are racially and culturally biased, and therefore should not be used as a placement tool for minority children. So, the correct answer is B, racially and culturally biased. Now that you're familiar with the types of questions you may encounter on your exam, let's focus on how to answer the multiple choice questions. This section will provide some helpful suggestions on how to improve your odds of making the best choice. You may encounter some questions with opposite answer choices. This is what we call echo options. The answer options are almost a mirror of one another, with only slight differences. Let's take a look at an actual Exam Advantage question. This question has 2 options that appear the same but vary slightly. Client-therapist matching of ethnicity is a good predictor of A. Treatment length, B. Treatment outcome, C. Both treatment length and outcome, D. Neither treatment length nor outcome. I want you to focus on the first 2 answer choices. Here's an example of an echo option. You're now drawing from your test-taking skills. The correct answer is A. Research on this topic is not entirely clear, but it appears that ethnic matching has a greater impact on premature termination, which is the length of the treatment, as compared to treatment outcome. Now it's time to take action. Hopefully, these test-taking strategies have provided you with the necessary information to jumpstart your exam preparation. Academic Review is here to assist you each step of the way. As a leading provider of examination preparation resources since 1976, Academic Review has partnered with thousands of mental health professionals to successfully navigate the road to licensure. Be sure to call our toll-free customer support line at your convenience. They'll take the time to explain our home study programs, which include our online exams and concise study volumes. We look forward to being your partner for exam success.